Hey there, Wonder Women, it's Miriam here with your intro to yoga. Okay, lots of different yoga teachers call yoga postures or asanas by different names, and I will predominantly use the English version of everything. That way it is just more relatable to you if you haven't done a lot of yoga. If you do know the Sanskrit names for the yoga poses, you can use them in your own conversations, but for the purpose of our course, I want to make yoga palatable for everyone. So I'm going to start with the mat type postures, and then I will change the camera up and be able to show you the standing postures, okay? So let's start with plank. So for plank, there are two variations. So you are either one, you're gonna tuck your toes, you're in a push-up position, okay? You want a straight line from the top of your head to your heels. We are pushing through the heels. All the little things that I mentioned are less important than you knowing all the moves at first, okay? So then there's also a plank on the ground with your forearms on the ground, okay? Same thing. So when you're doing a plank, your tummy is tight, so I'm gonna give you the cue to tuck your first two ribs in. And what I mean by that is, here I am from the profile. When I tuck my ribs in, you can see this nice arch in my back is a little bit too much, so I'm gonna tuck those in, and you can see how it affects my back. So then I'm gonna do a little chin tuck, and this is correct posture. So you can see if I slouch, or if I stand the way I wanna stand, I've got a little bit too much arch, puts a little bit of pressure on the back, so I'm gonna knit those ribs in, okay? So here's plank. There's a side plank. I don't think that we do it very much, but there is a side plank either on your hands or on your arms, and it looks like this. And you can stack the feet, or you can have one in front of the other. And we're wanting to be one straight line from crown to heel, okay? Lowering halfway down with straight legs would look like this. And you stay here, and then come down into cobra. If you have bent knees, it would look like this. Halfway down, hold for a sec, come down into cobra. So then the next posture that we're going to talk about is cobra. So from cobra, you want to make sure that your hips are extended, your legs are extended, there's no crunching here, okay? Knit those ribs, and you want to make sure that your crown is extending long. This is especially important for anyone with back pain. We don't want to be crunching the back, okay? So for cobra, there are several variations. You can do whatever you would like. You can do forearms. You can do bent elbow, hands down, or you can do straight hands, straight arms, okay? Wherever you are, you want to make sure that this is not crunching when you arch it, and that more is not better. And that goes for the entire course. More is not always necessarily better. Okay, so I like to do either forearm cobra or bent elbow cobra. The reason I like to do that is because I feel like I have some back issues, and this puts too much strain on my back, okay? So choose your cobra, and then you're gonna extend back out. And the next position we're gonna talk about is downward dog. So from cobra, typically, you're gonna curl your toes. Move up on my mat here. Okay. you're gonna curl your toes, and for the first one, I usually have you go through child's pose to downward dog. So this would be child's pose, and then hips up to downward dog. The more advanced version of that would be through plank. It's hard to talk and do this. And downward dog. Okay, so the important things about downward dog. When you're first starting out, you need to bend your knee. I'm gonna keep reminding you that there's a soft bend in the knee. This upper body part is more important for downward dog than the hamstring stretch, okay? You're gonna push through your index fingers and your thumb, and then use the rest of your hand to grip. Okay, so I'm gripping, I'm pushing through the fingers, the index finger and the thumb, and ideally my feet are where they were for a plank. So I should be able to go like this and then push back like this, okay? If you need to modify that by coming in or stepping out, totally fine. Do what's right for you. Okay. So we are pushing through, extending the top of the body. The ears should come inside and under the elbows. So shouldn't be out here. This is not downward dog. And this is not downward dog. Hips are up. Knees can be bent. Totally okay. Your heels do not have to touch the ground. The full expression of this would be heels down, hips up, like that, a V. But this is what I recommend that you do. Soft knees. And then when we walk the dog, we're gonna have our heels going up and down to stretch the hamstrings. Your upper body stays still, still pushing through. And every posture in yoga is very dynamic, so all of the body is involved. If you are resting on your ligaments, I would prefer that you did it a different way, because that's not good for you, for your ligaments, and it's also not going to give you the most strength and the most bang for your buck. Okay? So then we have three-legged dog. Okay? So three-legged dog is just our same V. So here's my V. And I meant to mention that you need to knit those ribs when you're doing a downward dog. Otherwise, you're gonna have that arch, most likely. So I'm knitting my ribs. This is three-legged dog. So hips are still square. We're not out like this, unless I ask you to do that. And we're just kind of doing a split. And then three-legged dog on the other side. Okay, so that's three-legged dog. Let's talk about the transition from three-legged dog to a lunge, okay? So I'm gonna go back into three-legged dog. Okay, here I am. We've done our, let's go through the whole thing. We've done our plank, we've gone halfway down, we've done our cobra, and now we've gone through child's pose into our downward dog. Okay, three-legged dog comes up, and I'm going to shift my body forward, bring my knee into my chest, and bring my foot up into a lunge. Okay, I'm gonna call this a high lunge because my knee is up. I'm gonna call this a low lunge because my knee is down. I think my pants are ripping. Okay, so low lunge, crescent, like a crescent moon, crescent lunge is like this if it's a low lunge. If it's a high crescent lunge, You're up on your toe and arms are up. That is crescent lunge. Okay? And let's see. Let's go down and do some cat-cows. So cat-cows, cat is like, when you see like cartoon cats go, have their heckles up and they're like screeching, like, that's what you think of with the cat posture. So your belly's to your spine is up to the ceiling. Your elbows are supposed to be twisted out, but don't lock them out, okay? So the creases of your elbows on all of these postures are supposed to be that way. But I don't want to see you resting on your ligaments like that. Okay, that's not good for you. So my whole spine is curling up into a C. I can squeeze my glutes a little bit, squeeze my abs, and this is the posture where you're gonna let all of your air out. This is an exhaling posture. My head's tucked in, my chin is tucked, I should say. And now we're gonna transition into cow, okay? Just like a cow in a pasture, you see, they kind of have a sway in their back or arch in their back, and we're gonna look up, we're gonna bring the whole spine into a C the other way. And we're gonna breathe in. And you can let your belly down on this one. You don't need to be, pulling that together. So belly down, I'm gonna say belly to the spine, cat, exhale, inhale, belly down, head up, cow, cat, and cow, cat, and cow. All right. So let's from here, this is called tabletop. From here, I'm gonna teach you bird dog or opposite arm leg table. So basically, you are going to extend one leg and the opposite arm, okay? So let's get into a neutral spine position. So this was my cow, and this is my cat, and I wanna be somewhere in between, okay? Right there. Engaging those front ribs, and I'm gonna extend my left leg straight out. Notice I'm not here, I'm not doing this. It can be, a modification can be on the ground with your toe on the ground, but ideally your foot is the same, your whole leg is extended, and it's the same elevation as your hips, okay? And we don't want to open out to the side, so bring that big toe in so that your hips are square, okay? Keep this position, and then bring the opposite arm up, thumb up, and we are creating one straight line from fingertips to heel. The foot is flexed, not pointed. Stay and breathe. Okay, so that's bird dog, and then we switch sides. Okay, so we talked a little bit about child's pose, but child's pose traditionally is this. Extended child's pose would be this, arms out. And there's also a variation that I love, which is wide knee child's pose. It just feels so good. Okay, so let's talk about these standing postures. Okay, welcome back. So now we're gonna do the standing postures. Okay, so typically I start our practices with mountain. In mountain, I want my ears over my shoulders over my ribs over my hips, hips over knees, and feet under the knees. So you can see I'm not like this. I'm trying to be one straight line all the way up the chain. If you're ever in doubt about your posture, you can either bring your arms up, stretch, stretch, stretch as high as you can, a little bend in the knee, and bring up your toes to engage the arches, and then just let your arms down and knit that rib, okay? Okay, so mountain pose is standing. Isn't that awesome? I love yoga postures. Okay, so mountain would be standing up. Extended mountain would be arms all the way up, okay? Many of our practices incorporate a flow or a vinyasa, and so I would start with inhaling up, prayer hands, exhaling down, inhaling up, prayer hands. So I usually do this in cycles of 3. And then we do what's called a swan dive. So just like in diving on a into a pool, you're gonna dive down. And let me show you from the side what this looks like, okay? So you are flat back. I'm gonna bring those ribs in. Flat back, and my hand is touching the wall, so I'm not gonna show you my other arm. And you come down, and then you can just relax like a rag doll, okay? So inhaling up, swan dive down. Nice gentle bend in the knee. Always feel free to put a gentle bend in the knee. I have like some hyperextension, and so that is something that I really need to make sure to do so that I'm not overextending my ligaments and injuring them. Okay, from here, you can grab your elbows and just pretend you're a rag doll. This is one of my favorite stretches. Gets all in here. Down here. Okay, so we are progressing down, and we are going to do the warrior series, okay? So from mountain pose, I would inhale up, swan dive down, walk my hands out to plank, go halfway down, little cobra, curl the toes, down dog, and 3-legged dog. Okay, now I'm gonna bring my knee in for the lunge. Okay, and here we go with our warriors. So crescent lunge, as I told you before, is up on the toe. Arms are up. This is your crescent, like a crescent moon. Okay, and you want to try to get down to 90 degrees with your knee. When you're just starting out, it's no big deal, okay? Try to take the arch out of your back, so again, knit those ribs. And when you're transitioning to warrior 1, you're gonna plant your heel at a 45-degree angle, okay? So now we're in warrior 1, and to transition to warrior 2, you're just gonna pivot your arms into a T and open up to the side, okay? So let me show you on the other leg. Okay, here I am in crescent lunge. Hips are forward. I'm not opening up this way yet. That's for warrior 2. So here's crescent lunge. Here's warrior 1. And I'm opening up to the side and arms to a T for warrior 2. Okay? The gaze in warrior 2 is over the front fingertips. Okay? And then we can move to exalted or reverse warrior. And in reverse warrior, your arm goes up, your hand goes down the back. And then you're looking up. Okay? And we might transition into something else and then come back. So those are the primary yoga postures that you're gonna encounter during our practices. The other ones, I will definitely cue you, but I wanted to give you a nice foundation. And if you ever have any questions, message me, post in the Facebook group, and we will show you some more examples if you need to, okay? Everybody's body is shaped differently, created differently, and so what may look like the perfect posture on somebody may not be true to you. So don't get too hung up on how you look. Don't get hung up at all. How about that? Yoga is about improving yourself, not looking outward, okay? You're looking for inner wisdom. You're looking for challenging yourself to improve based on your baseline, not anyone else's, okay? That's it for now. Stay light, healthy, confident, and free. Bye.